Home means something different to everyone. But with Rocket Mortgage, home can mean even more. It can mean a college education, taming your high-interest debt, even a renovation. We've made it easier than ever to use your home equity. That home you worked so hard for, now it can work hard for you. Call 800-4ROCKET or visit rocket.com to find out more.
Rocket Mortgage, LLC, licensed in all 50 states. NMLSconsumeraccess.org, number 3030.
The Other Side of Midnight.
77 WABC.
Local Spotlight.
Good morrow, everyone. This is The Other Side of Midnight on 77 WABC. I'm Frank Morano. I hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving weekend, but it's Monday. Here we are again. Every year on Thanksgiving, families across America come together to reflect, to give thanks, and to share a meal. It's a cherished tradition that fosters connection and gratitude, and yet some people just can't seem to let others enjoy the day without injecting their own agenda. This year, New York City public advocate Jumaane Williams took it upon himself to remind us of the complexity of the holiday. In a Thanksgiving tweet, he wrote, "A complex holiday. To Native Americans and others, it's quite understandably a day of mourning. We must never neglect to lift that up. Others try to repurpose it as a time for family and friends to give thanks for all we have. I hope you all, like mine, were able to enjoy the day." Now, I'm all for acknowledging history, but Thanksgiving is not about the events of the 1620s. It's about what we've built as a nation since then. No one alive today had anything to do with what happened to Native Americans centuries ago. This constant guilt tripping over historical grievances doesn't help anyone, least of all Native Americans. In fact, it diminishes the ability for people to come together to celebrate unity and gratitude, which are the core values of this holiday. Let's also address the irony here. While Mr. Williams tweeted about the complexity of Thanksgiving, he also admitted he enjoyed his day with family and friends. So which is it? If you truly believe it's a day of mourning, shouldn't you lead by example? Instead, it feels like a lecture aimed at the rest of us, a moral scolding designed to make people feel bad about celebrating. Look, no one's trying to erase history, but Thanksgiving isn't about history. It's about gratitude. It's about appreciation for what we have, the people in our lives, and the opportunities before us. Dwelling on the negatives of the past during a holiday meant to bring people together only sows division. We have plenty of days throughout the year to address injustices, both historical and contemporary. Thanksgiving should be a break from all that, a chance to focus on what unites us rather than divides us. So let's stop trying to politicize every aspect of life, including our holidays. And let's stop letting people like Jumaane Williams hijack Thanksgiving to make it about something it's not. To all of you listening, I hope you had a great Thanksgiving filled with gratitude and joy, unburdened by unnecessary guilt. Let's remember that this holiday is about looking forward with hope, not backwards with blame.
Beam me up!
To be continued.
Subtle results, still you, but with fewer lines. Botox Cosmetic, out of botulinum toxin A, is a prescription medicine used to temporarily make moderate to severe frown lines, crow's feet, and forehead lines look better in adults.
Effects of Botox Cosmetic may spread hours to weeks after injection, causing serious symptoms. Alert your doctor right away as difficulty swallowing, speaking, breathing, eye problems, or muscle weakness may be a sign of a life-threatening condition. Patients with these conditions before injection are at highest risk. Don't receive Botox Cosmetic if you have a skin infection. Side effects may include allergic reactions, injection site pain, headache, eyebrow and eyelid drooping, and eyelid swelling. Allergic reactions can include rash, welts, asthma symptoms, and dizziness. Tell your doctor about medical history, muscle or nerve conditions including ALS or Lou Gehrig's disease, myasthenia gravis, or Lambert-Eaton syndrome, and medications, including botulinum toxins, as these may increase the risk of serious side effects. For full safety information, visit BotoxCosmetic.com or call 877-351-0300.
See for yourself at BotoxCosmetic.com.
The Other Side of Midnight.
77 WABC.
Local Spotlight.
Good morrow, everyone. This is The Other Side of Midnight on 77 WABC. I'm Frank Morano. The Democratic National Committee, as the recent election results indicate, could use a fresh perspective, and there's no better person for the job than New York State Senator James Skoufis, who just announced he's running for chair of the Democratic National Committee. At just 37 years old, Skoufis has already proven himself to be a political powerhouse, showing Democrats how to win in places that many in the party have written off. Skoufis represents a district in Orange County, part of the Hudson Valley, where Trump won handily in 2024. Yet Skoufis managed to outperform the top of the ticket by more than 20 points, earning the trust of voters who might otherwise lean Republican. This wasn't a fluke. He's done it 3 times now, consistently proving that Democrats can win in so-called Trump country if they have the right message and approach. What sets Skoufis apart is his ability to connect with working people who feel abandoned by what they see as the wokeness of the modern Democratic Party. He doesn't use academic jargon or try to appease every corner of the activist left. Instead, he focuses on bread and butter issues, jobs, healthcare, education, and speaks in a language that resonates with everyday Americans. He knows how to campaign everywhere, not just in urban strongholds or deep blue enclaves, and his success in deep red constituencies proves that his strategy works. But it's not just winning elections, it's about revitalizing a party that seems increasingly out of touch with the voters it needs to reach. Skoufis himself said it best, quote, "Sometimes I think the average voter looks at the Democratic Party and some Democratic candidates and thinks that we're running for university chancellor instead of public office based on some of the language that we use." That kind of honesty and the willingness to address it is exactly what the Democratic National Committee needs. In his campaign for DNC chair, Skoufis has positioned himself as an outsider, someone unafraid to break with the party's entrenched leadership. He's right when he says, we tried the D.C. Beltway thing, we tried the decades-long operative thing, we tried the sort of party machine thing over and over and over again, and here we are. Where the Democrats are, unfortunately, is locked out of power in Washington, staring down decades of conservative dominance in the federal courts and struggling to regain a foothold in working-class America. The party needs someone who isn't part of the problem, someone who's proven they can be part of the solution. Critics might call this bit a long shot. After all, Skoufis is virtually unknown outside New York, and he enters the race without a single endorsement from the 448 voting members of the Democratic National Committee. But let's not forget that long shots sometimes win big. Skoufis has the right record, the right message, and the right temperament to lead one of the 2 major parties now.
Beam me up!
To be continued.
This episode is brought to you by Factor. Optimize your nutrition this year with Factor, America's #1 ready-to-eat meal service. Factor's fresh, never-frozen meals are dietitian approved, ready to eat in just 2 minutes. Choose from 40 weekly options across 8 dietary preferences like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, and Keto. Eat smarter at factormeals.com/listen50 and use code listen50 for 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. Factormeals.com/listen50. Code listen50. Terms and conditions apply.
The Other Side of Midnight.
77 WABC.
Local Spotlight.
Talk about irony. Just as Mayor Eric Adams faces a bribery indictment for allegedly accepting lavish gifts, he sends out a memo to city workers warning them not to accept gifts or favors during the holiday season. You couldn't make this up. You couldn't make this stuff up if you tried. Now, to be fair, this memo is reportedly an annual tradition, a standard reminder issued by the city's Department of Investigation and the Conflicts of Interest Board. But timing is everything, isn't it? For a mayor who's been accused of accepting luxury travel and other perks in exchange for doing favors, this message lands with all the subtlety of a sledgehammer. City educators, for one, aren't amused. One teacher described the memo as the onion-level satire, calling it the gods of irony at work. Another educator expressed outrage that Adams would have the audacity to lecture them on ethics while he's entangled in legal woes. And honestly, who could blame them? It's like being lectured on diet tips by someone caught sneaking donuts in the break room. City employees, including teachers, are already constrained by strict rules, about what they can and cannot accept. Teachers, for instance, are limited to gifts worth $50 or less over an entire year. They're also expected to ensure that class gifts, even those with a $5 per student limit, are handled in a way that doesn't make lower-income families feel excluded. These guidelines are all about maintaining fairness and ethical standards in public service. But when the person delivering the message is under indictment for allegedly violating those very principles, the message loses its credibility. Let's be clear. Ethics rules for public servants are important. They prevent corruption and ensure that public trust isn't eroded by backroom deals or undue influence. But when leaders fail to practice what they preach, they undermine not only their own authority, but also the morale of those they lead. The mayor, of course, has pleaded not guilty to the bribery charges and maintains his innocence. But regardless of the outcome of his case, this memo should have been handled differently. Perhaps someone else in City Hall could have signed it, or maybe it could have been delayed until the optics weren't quite so glaring. Because here's the thing. Leadership is about more than issuing directives. It's about setting an example. And right now, Eric Adams' example is a case study in how not to lead. If he wants to regain the trust of New Yorkers, he needs to do more than follow the letter of the law. He needs to show that he understands why people are frustrated and frankly embarrassed by this kind of tone-deaf messaging. As the old saying goes, actions speak louder than words. Maybe it's time for the mayor to put the memo-writing pen down and focus on actions that rebuild confidence in his leadership before any more irony gods have their say.
Beam me up!
To be continued.
ChatGPT Plus is free for college students through May. Here's the thing. You've got a lot to do between now and then. Studying for finals, writing papers, trying to keep your life on track. And ChatGPT can help with all of it. It can quiz you for your econ exam, make a study guide from your French notes, plan out your meals and study breaks. It can get really specific on how you like to learn. It can even help you come up with ways to stop procrastinating. So from now until summer break, take advantage of all the ways ChatGPT can make your life easier. Restrictions apply.
The Other Side of Midnight.
77 WABC.
Local Spotlight.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 14 years, Suffolk County's red light camera program has finally hit a red light of its own. On December 1st, the program officially came to an end. That was yesterday, and the debate over its merits and motives will undoubtedly continue. When it began, this program was touted as a means to improve safety at a dangerous intersection, well, many dangerous intersections. Proponents highlighted the reduction in serious crashes and fatalities, claiming the cameras saved lives. And in fairness, the data does show a decline in right-angle crashes, the kind that can cause the most severe injuries. But there's another side to this story, one that's harder to ignore. Opponents of the program have long pointed to the spike in rear-end collisions at intersections equipped with cameras, often caused by drivers slamming on their brakes to avoid a ticket. The numbers don't lie. Overall accidents increased by 8.6% after the cameras were installed. That's not exactly a resounding endorsement for a program that was supposed to make roads safer. And then there's the financial aspect, which for many reveals the program's true colors. Since 2013, Suffolk County's red light cameras have generated nearly $290 million in gross revenue. Just last year, the program raked in $18.7 million, with tickets averaging about $980 per day. At $50 a pop, that's a hefty chunk of change. Sure, the county had to pay the contractor, but it still netted millions annually. It's no wonder some have called it a cash grab. The program's implementation also left much to be desired. Critics argue that cameras were placed without enough focus on actual safety needs. Take the intersection at Great East Neck Road on State Route 109 in West Babylon, where accidents, including those involving injuries, actually increased after cameras were installed. This isn't an isolated case. It's a sign of a flawed system. Meanwhile, Nassau County's red light program, which remains active, appears to have achieved better results with significant drops in crashes and injuries. But even there, the recent court ruling that extra fees are illegal casts a shadow over the program's integrity. Here's the bottom line. I want people to stop running red lights as much as anyone else. It's reckless, dangerous, and puts lives at risk. But somewhere along the way, Suffolk's program became more about soaking people for money than making roads safer. When a safety initiative turns into a revenue generator, it loses its moral authority and its effectiveness. The end of Suffolk's program should be a wake-up call. If red light cameras are to be a part of traffic safety toolbox, they need to be implemented with precision, transparency, and a singular focus on safety.
Beam me up.
To be continued.